An interesting discussion we're about to have. If you're from Utah, when I say Lil Cottonwood Canyon, oh, I said this T, you might notice something a little weird. If you're not from Utah, you might be asking, well, where is the T sound going? Joining us today is David Eddington, professor on linguistics at Brigham Young University, to talk a bit more about these Utah-isms and to understand a bit more of where they come from. David, this is such an interesting topic. I hope a lot of people at home enjoy this. Thanks for being here today.
You're welcome. I think everyone's an armchair linguist.
Right? Okay. And I'm just laughing, thinking, I just read this script and I messed up a few words, and you're probably catching every single one. Let's talk about this then to start off the discussion. Can you discuss some so-called Utah-isms then?
Okay, well, the interesting thing is a lot of people have ideas about what are Utah-isms, and there are things that are common in the state, but it's hard to find something that is completely unique. But what are some Utah-isms people talk about? How about the pronunciation of words like bi'an, fountain, ki'an? There's one that gets a lot of press. How about saying things like I feel sick or he failed the test? Those are common Utah-isms, but you'll also find them in the Midwest and in Texas, for example.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so now are these patterns of speech unique to Utah? I think you kind of just answered that. You hear some of these in other states.
Yeah, it's really hard to find something that's completely unique to Utah. Can I give you one that I think is really close to being unique?
Yes.
What is this? How do you prepare a scone? Do you bake it or fry it?
Oh, no. My mom just made scones. I don't say either one.
In Utah, you fry them. Fry bread is called a scone in Utah. Elsewhere in the English-speaking world, scones are biscuits.
Oh, no, yeah, I grew up calling them scones, though. But
yeah, if you go outside the state, people won't know you're talking about. They say, oh, you mean fry bread? Yeah. Another one that's almost completely unique to Utah is the term slough school.
Yes, yes.
It's hard to find that outside the state.
People don't say that, really. Okay, I had plenty of friends that sloughed school. That's exactly what we called it. Oh, interesting. So are there any phrases that, okay, you said some of the ones that are unique to Utah, but where does the Utah dialect originate then, David?
Well, it originates from where the people came from. So you've got a huge influx of people from Great Britain that the rest of the U.S. didn't get so late. That may have, I think, caused the pronunciation of the town of Hurricane. Hurricane's a British pronunciation. It's nothing new. Another one would be the pronunciation or the use of an expression like if I say, do you ski? And if you answer, I used to do. Oh. That's very British. You'll find it among older speakers of Utah, kind of odd in the rest of the U.S.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. And this is in hurricane, which when you read it, you want to say hurricane, but that's a British way to say it when we say hurricane.
That's the way they say it over there. Yep.
Now we know. Okay. You know, my grandfather used to always say crick instead of creek. Is that a Utah thing?
It's common in the state, but you'll find it all over the U.S.
Okay. So tell us this. Do all Utahns have the same patterns of speech?
No. In fact, what we find as linguists is that the way you speak depends on your age, your gender, where you're from, what your occupation is. And so, no, some people say, I never say that in Utah. Well, it's true. For example, the Mau'an, Lay'an pronunciation is a lot more common among younger women in the state. Younger women in the state. Interesting. Younger women.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this. Oh, so yes, please keep going.
No, and I was going to say that you'll find that pronunciation very common in Indiana, New Mexico, Vermont. So it's not unique to the state, but it's here.
Yes, it's here, and we all kind of touch and give pieces to each other then, it sounds like. What about like when you say bringing, and at the end when you say the G, there's a little bit of a K sound to it. Is that something unique to Utah?
Well, it's interesting. I looked at that, and you will find that around Liverpool in the UK.
Okay. Fascinating profession, David. We could just keep on talking, but they are wrapping us up. So David Eddington, we thank you so much for joining us here today. If you want to learn more, you can check out the article, Do Utahns Talk Funny? And check out our website where you'll be able to find this interview. Again, all of that on abc4.com.